Hi guys, in one of my previous videos I showed you how I use this SEQURE HT-140 tweezers to upgrade a DC-DC converter. In the meantime, I had a lot of time to use them in my daily work, and this is why I'm making this video. Normally this video wasn't planned, but I got quite some experience with them and I want to share it with you. I want to show you what are the positive sides and what could have been done better. But to be honest, I'm very impressed with them. So let's continue by showing you a little bit how I use them. Okay, let's try migrating some 0603 package components from this PCB that I have here to this one. And let's see how fast we can do that. Let's start the tweezers. This is SEQURE 140, HT140 long press. I've set it to 350 degrees. It's already smoking. And let's see how fast we can do the work here. I'm concentrating here, this is why I'm not speaking. It's the first time I'm doing it like that, so bear with me. Let's see how we did it. So, this is the result. Really nice. I had to rework a little bit the one or the other one of the solder joints, but again using one of the two tips of the tweezers as a soldering iron, so I didn't need an extra soldering iron for that. The reason why it took longer than normal, because if I do something like that without the camera, it takes half of the time. Because I do not see where the camera is put, it is on the top. And I'm not seeing exactly what I'm doing at that moment. And I don't see if the camera sees correct what I'm doing. Yeah, normally I'm doing that under the magnification lens that I have, but I cannot use that at the moment. So I need another better solution when I'm doing these things on camera. Anyway, the result is very good. I like it. It saved me a lot of time, even if I needed double the time than normal because of doing that on camera. Honestly, it's my first time doing that on camera. And it's the first time that I'm using the tweezers like that. So the result is perfect. Okay, let's have a test with a massive switch, Cisco switch board, and to remove some parts from there, and you see how good it works. So, by the way, this is the result when cleaned with isopropyl alcohol. This is how it looks. So guys, look at that massive board. This is a board. Look at my hand and look the board. This is a multi gigabit, 10 gigabit SFP based switchboard from a large or a medium Cisco switch, sorry. And look at how complicated this thing is. First of all, look at how thick the PCB is. Massive ground planes and a lot of parts. Difficult parts to remove. Look at that. So this is one of the most difficult ports you can use, PCBs you can use when testing these tweezers. And I will use the tweezers by using this tiny C120 style bend needle type tweezers, cartridges. And we will see how good it performs. So let's have a look. So let's have a look how it works with a quite large tantalum capacitor. It's moving. That was it. Let's take another one. The ground side takes a little longer. Gone. Let's take this one. The ground side is always a problem. Oh, this one takes a little longer. And it's gone too. So let's see something else. What do we have here? Let's take a look of this. Let's put a little. This massive coil. Let's have a look how long it takes. It's already moving. And it's gone. You see, it is not that difficult. These things work quite well, and you can do it like that too. Just here, for example, let's take it like that. You can put a little solder on both sides. Like that, and like that, and then you take it even more easy. Let's take another one. Let's put a little solder here, just because this is a leaded solder, and to freshen it a little bit up, and take it away. Next, just a little solder, take it away. Guys, this is how it works. Really, really nice. And with what? With this miniature C120 bend cartridges tips. Very good. I like it. This is, of course, that's something I will use in the future a lot of times. Just removing parts from donut boards and migrating parts from donut boards to prototypes, or for older prototypes to newer prototypes. So, regarding the issue that of the floating voltage that you have on the tips of the HT140 while using this kind of power supply, and I mean an unearthed power supply like that. This is not an issue of the HT40, not in any means, and not an issue of the supplied power supply. it is because it's not earthed. The thing is that you get capacitive coupling between the transformer windings, primary and secondary, and you have a coupling between primary and secondary with a Y1 capacitor to eliminate or to minimize EMC. Both of these things give you, if the output, the ground, the minus is not connected to ground here, to the earth, a floating voltage here on the tip itself. So I've grounded both tips, and to show you that we have a voltage, I'm connecting here, and as you can see, we have almost 100 volts. It's microamps. It will not kill you or anything, but it's enough to eventually damage sensitive equipment. Therefore, let me put it back. Therefore, SEQURE is delivering, along with the newer kits that are sent out, this kind of cables. You have one with an USB-A to banana, and one with a banana, as you can see here, to a ring terminal. This is so difficult to focus. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you get what I mean, I think. Let me try it better. I don't know why it's not focusing. Yeah, now I have it. Okay, with this ring terminal. So the idea is that you can earth the tips in two ways. Either you use this one, that is my preferred one, with a USB and a banana. Additionally, you get a banana to crocodile clip. You just connect the crocodile clip to the earthing, and the second one in the USB connector, of course it's the wrong side, to the second port, the USB-A port of the supplied power supply. And now let's measure again. Nothing. That's it. The thing is earthed. Again, this is not a problem with the HT40 or with the power supply. It is because of the nature of this thing that you have no grounding, so that you have a floating voltage. Of course, the other solution would be to use a different power supply that has a 3-cable connection, mains connection, or you can use again this one with a ring terminal that I showed you. I don't like this at all because it's very springy. The idea is, again, you connect the banana here, again to some grounding point, and this ring terminal is directly screwed on one of these 3 screws here that are internally connected to a ground plane. This is, in my opinion, the worst situation, because then you have a cable like that flying around, springy, and the movement is very limited. So anyway, you decide what you want to use. The third thing is you can use an barrel connector with external power supply that is already has a ground connection. Well, these are why SEQURE is sending in the newer kits these two cables. I think the first one that mentioned this problem is Ian Scott Johnson from Scotland. I will put a link on his website. He contacted SEQURE and they immediately reacted. And this is something that I like on SEQURE, that they don't say, yeah, okay, it is how it is, but they delivered a solution. And the solution with a USB-A to the ground is for me the better one. You have no cables flying around, etc. So this is how this thing works. Now a couple of words, my opinion, my personal opinion, why I like these tweezers, and honestly I prefer them over the brand solutions from JBC or from Weller or from Aerosa, etc. Even from Etten. Etten has something similar to Weller, not bad, cheaper, but it has the same problems that are the ones that make me like these ones. So the first problem at all is that, as you can see here on my bench, I do not have enough space. Real estate on my bench is a premium. And if I would use the tweezers from the other manufacturers like GBC that I have I have the hot air from GBC, I have my primary soldering station and the second one soldered from GBC, but not the tweezers. Why? Because either I would have to change the base station to make it a dual one that makes it larger, and constantly, permanently, I have to have all the stand and everything staying there, taking space, or to take a second base station that takes me even more space. So, and for the occasional usages, I have it because I'm using it for to remove parts from donor boards or remove parts from my prototypes that I do not want to use, where I do not want to use hot air because I do not want to heat everything around it, etc. That means that I'm not using it permanently like my soldering station. I use it only on demand. And for that, I just take it out from the shelf, use it and put it away again, and that's it. This is something I cannot do with the other stations that I mentioned before from these brands, from the other brands. The second thing, of course, and it is of course a very important thing, is price. The price is far away, much higher than the price of the SEQURE ones. It works perfectly, it is fast, it gets warm very fast. Let me zoom a little bit more. It has a nice springy, but I like it more than the one from GBC, because the one from GBC, it hacks a little bit. If you open it, it does not go linear like that. It gets something, boing, opens like that, and then the part you were holding is going ballistic somewhere, boing, you can, I don't know, it's flying away. Anyway, this is the reason why I like these more than the other ones, than the brand ones. Space and, of course, the price. But there are some things that I would like to see added or changed. The first thing is, yeah, of course, and they are transportable. You are portable. I can take it everywhere with me with a USB power supply or a power supply with a barrel connector. I forgot to say that. You cannot take this thing. Of course you can do it, but you need 220 or another voltage, but this is very small and transportable with a nice casing, etc. But this stand, even if it looks good, sturdy and everything, it defies the advantage of being portable, because every time I want to use these things, either I will not use that at all and just leave it like that, or if I want to use a stand, I have to mount it with the screws, need a screwdriver, that of course it is supported. Where is it? Here, yeah, but this shouldn't be necessary. In my opinion, the best solution would be this part here, the holder, that this piece of metal here would slip in an opening here somewhere and clip in. And then if you want to take it out, you just press it and pull it out. That's it. That would be the most sophisticated solution, in my opinion. Of course, it's absolutely nothing really negative. I just would like to see this, if it is possible, changed. This is something that doesn't cost much, yeah, and it would be easier to transport and to not all the time have to mount the base here. So this is the first thing. These cartridges that are delivered with as a base accessory with tweezers are very thin. They do the job more or less, but it would be much easier if you had ones that are, I don't know what it is, 0.8 or 0 something, 0.6, or I don't know what it is, this a little bit thicker ones. And I know that from the GBC portfolio, there are a little bit thicker ones with 0.5 millimeter or 0.8 or 1 millimeter. 0.8 would make everything much easier. Let's come to this, what you can use these for. I see that as it is here, I can use it maximum with 0603, and it will perhaps work with a 0402, but under that you have here a problem. Of course, you can turn these things, the tips inwards, but then you lose all this side here that gives a little bit more heating to the component. For that, there's a solution. SEQURE supplied me with these flat tips too. These are 3 millimeter ones. They supplied me with, where is it? With, of course, every time I take it on the wrong side, the 5 millimeter ones too. They have on the portfolio these ones too, that are in an angle like that. But these ones are too big for smaller components. So again, it would be nice if SEQURE had in their portfolio this kind of tips, but with 1.5 millimeter wide or maximum 2 millimeter. And I know JBC has these tips. It is much easier to use them in special conditions than these ones. Again, these are okay and do mostly the job, but for very small parts, I would like to have these straight tips. The mounting of the tips is a little bit cumbersome. You have 4 very small Allen screws like this, but they supply additionally because it's prone to lose them. And you have on every side 4 of them. 4 of them. Why? Of course, because you have the possibility using these 4 screws to move the tip a little bit at least on each side. Up, down, left, right. Like you see here, it is not completely centered. Yeah, but it makes it easier to line up the tips. I don't see any other solution for that problem here, other, to be honest, for everybody that wants to use more than 1 tip pair. That means these ones and perhaps these ones for bigger parts. Just buy a second one. The price allows it without a problem, in my opinion, and you don't have to change all the time the tips when you take a 0603 and then you need something bigger. I don't know for what, yeah, whatever, tantalum capacitor or something else, yeah. That doesn't work correctly with these ones. So my solution is, and I would like to have a second one, where I have, and the first one I have these standard tips, and on the second one I have the tips that I use second mostly, let's say so. And then you just take out whatever you need, or take both out, and then if you're finished, you put it away. So this is my solution. JBC has a solution with a screw wheel here. Complicated, works. It works, let's say so, yeah. Not really, but hey guys, at this price, with this quality, that the quality is really, really good of those, you cannot ask more. So this is why my tip is just order a second one with the tips you need and leave it permanently. The next thing is I want to show you how to make a firmware update when a new firmware is available. Because with all this intelligent equipment here, tools, the first thing I check if there is a possibility to update the firmware. Bugs unavoidable. So it is a good thing that you have the possibility to update the firmware, and here you have the possibility. And I will show you what it does and how it works. Okay, let me try to show you how to update the HT-140 tweezers with my external camera. First of all, to enter the update mode, we have to keep the left button, the A button, pressed while we connect the USB. That's the wrong connector, of course. That's for my iPhone. That's the USB. And you get this display on the screen. Additionally, it generates a drive, a small drive with, what is that, 1.5 megabytes, and in my situation this is the E, and there you have to upload the hex file. I already here prepared on the second screen, on the second half of the screen, the hex file itself. It's the 1.04. By the way, I'm using a total commander here. You can use anything else that you want to move to move the hex file to this generated drive, let's say so, this created drive. At the moment we take the firmware here and upload it, First of all the settings we had will be set to default. So be careful if you have quite a lot of settings and calibrations, etc. This is going to be defaulted. I don't know if the calibrations will be defaulted too, but the settings are definitely going back to default. The second thing is you cannot downgrade anymore. You can only upgrade. Okay, so we see now that at the moment we're at ready, and if I say okay, at the moment it is transferred and it's on the other side, we will see it say yes. So, and with that it is done. Easy, huh? But be careful, it resets, at least for this version of the firmware, it resets to default when you update. So let's continue. So that was it for today. If you like what you see, if you like my videos, if you like the content, what I'm doing, even if it is a little bit sparse in the last few months, but we're getting better. Subscribe to my channel, please. Give me a thumbs up. This helps me to be able to make more of these videos. And thank you very much for watching. I like these tweezers. Otherwise, I wouldn't make a second video. And see you next time. Cheers.